疑似よ。
瑠璃のように落ちなさい。
兵士。いや。隙を見せるのはほんの一瞬だ。
ゼダー。瑠璃のように落ちなさい。
異形を見届ける。
ここだよ。逃げようなんて思わないでよね。お触り禁止。風雪なし崩す。
名誉ケースに。
At the end of this video, you're going to find a team build for Ganyu that's going to elevate her damage potential and mesh well with your personal playstyle. After rigorous playtesting and theory crafting, I've done all the dirty work so that you don't have to. Simply watch this video to figure out which comp seems the most fun to you or which one is the most accessible. That's right, unlike other content creators, I've gone the extra mile to provide a bunch of different teams and some budget options so that in the end of the day, you can build the best possible team for Ganyu with just the units you own. So please watch to the end and I can guarantee you at least one of these comps will give you 100% satisfaction or your money back. Let's get right into it. Ganyu is a bow user that carries the cryo vision. I went over my initial impression of her in one of my past videos, so if you want my insight on if you should wish for her and what role she'll fill, check that video out, then come back here. Her most unique trait is that her damage profile comes mostly from charge shots. Now this means she plays very differently compared to your traditional DPS and sub DPS units. This also means that building the right team will be the difference between being frustrated by how clunky she feels or being absolutely amazed by her damage and synergies. Let's delve a little bit into elemental reactions. For Ganyu, both main or sub DPS, the reactions that you should invest in are Melt, which is an amplifying reaction that multiplies the damage that you deal, or Freeze, which although doesn't give you extra damage, provides invaluable crowd control for you when you land consecutive charge shots. Now this is assuming you're not playing a character that has a claymore or does heavy attacks. Super Contact is decent, however most Super Contact users benefit from any cryo character, so it's actually more valuable to just play one of the cheaper cryo characters than to invest heavily in Ganyu. Razor mains, I would hold the trigger on this and be content with Kaya, Dioner, or Chi-Chi for now. Swirl is great because Animo provides great grouping for your charge shots to get the most value out of your AoE damage. So to recap, in terms of elemental reactions, the priority is Pyro, then Animo, then Hydro, then Electro. For elemental resonance, the key ones are Shattering Ice, which gives you 15% increased crit rate against enemies affected by cryo, and Fervent Flames, which gives you a generic 25% attack buff. Shattering Ice is so good, especially with the cryo artifact set. If you're running Ganyu DPS or just a cryo DPS with Ganyu being a sub DPS, this resonance is perfect. Fervent Flames is great as always. If you're ever in doubt, it's always something you can rely on. Now, for what you guys have been waiting on, let's take a look at the best teams for Ganyu. I've listed a mix of Ganyu DPS and sub DPS options, so whatever you guys want to play, I have some amazing suggestions for you. I've gone ahead and labeled comps Abyss ready if I think that comp is something you can plug and play in Abyss. Again, because the Abyss has different enemies and buffs for each floor, I cannot advise you that these comps will work for all 12 floors. That's why I also have listed an Abyss core for each comp that you can build your team around based on the circumstances. Team 1 is called Vitamix Pro because your enemies will experience what it's like to be in a blender. It's also the Pro Edition because it has 4 5 stars. The team is Ganyu, Albedo, Jean, and Venti or Sucrose. This comp is Abyss ready, and if slimes could talk, they would be begging you not to play this because it is truly terrifying. Ganyu is your bona fide main DPS here, Albedo for some passive damage, and Venti grouping everyone up and giving the whole lot a nice mix.
Yeah, boy.
If that wasn't enough, you can factor in some massive fall damage of Jean, falling up at the very end of the combo. Animo Resonance also gives you improved mobility to make up for your charge shot, restricting your movement, and some skill cooldown reduction as an icing on top. The combo sequence for this comp goes Albedo E into Venti Q, Ganyu E, Albedo Q, Venti E, and finishing that up with Gene E for fall damage. Team number 2 is called Let It Go because your enemies are going to get frozen and they're going to like it. This team features Child, Ganyu, Albedo or Sucrose, and then one of Diona, Kaya, or Chi-Chi. This comp is Abyss ready. Child will be your main DPS and you'll be using Ganyu more so for her ridiculous burst uptime, but you can space in some charge shots when your Child's E is on cooldown. Double Cryo is picked up here to help boost your crit rate and allow you to build more crit damage. Freezing enemies in place permanently will allow your Child's Riptide and charge attacks to have max value with the help of Viridescent Hunt grouping enemies for you. Albedo is here for extra damage since we risk proccing Superconduct with Fischl, but if you don't have Albedo, Sucrose will be amazing here. Alternatively, you can play Mona instead of Child here and then decide whether you want Mona to be your main DPS or Ganyu to fill that role. The principle and playstyle is the exact same. Team 3 is called the Powerpuff Girls because it features Klee, Ganyu, and Sucrose. Oh, and Bennett's just happy to be here. He's probably this dude who has a pretty tragic backstory to be honest, but... Anyways, I think this has become my favorite and best in slot Klee team and it's Abyss ready. Ganyu's burst lasts so long that it allows you to be swapped onto Klee for the entire duration of Klee's burst and still get a lot of melt procs off. Ganyu's E synergizes so well with Klee's charge attacks. I don't really have to explain Sucrose and Bennett, they're a staple in any Klee comp. The combo sequence for this comp is Bennett Q into Ganyu Q, Sucrose Q, Klee E, and the Klee auto attack. Team number 4 is called Fire and Ice. It's pretty boring, but I think it fits the personality of our Dark Knight of Mondstadt quite well. Diluc is teaming up with Ganyu, Bennett, and Sucrose. This comp is Abyss ready. Diluc gets a huge boost with Ganyu as a sub DPS since her ult field synergizes really well with Diluc's burst, changing his attacks to Pyro. I still like Chungyong more since you have more control over your Milk procs, but the damage this team outputs is poetic and does the work of Robert Frost justice. Team 5 is called Liu's Gals and features Keqing, Ganyu, Xingqiu, and one of Chi-Chi, Diona, or Kaya. Surprise surprise, another Abyss ready team. And before you go into the comment section and type an angry response, I know that Xingqiu is a dude, doesn't change anything. This is probably the only Superconduct comp that I think Ganyu makes sense in. You're leveraging Ganyu's burst alongside Xingqiu's burst to get permafreeze on your enemies and cash in on all the AoE of Keqing's charge attacks. Sweet, simple, and fitting that both Keqing and Ganyu would synergize pretty well together. Alright, enough wailing, let's talk about some budget comps for Ganyu. I don't have any creative names for these, so please feel free to name them in the comments below and vote on your favorites. I'll heart the ones that I really like. Team 6 features Ganyu, Diona or Kaya, Xiangling, and Sucrose. This comp is Abyss ready. This is another comp where Ganyu is the true main DPS. Ganyu and Xiangling have decent synergy. You can taunt enemies right into Gooba, get some AoE melt procs off. Xiangling's burst is a little awkward with a bow user, but you'll just have to play a little bit closer than comfort and utilize your taunt and Sucrose's burst to keep enemies distracted. Diona is here as a healer and to give you the cryo resonance you need to maximize the free crit damage you get from Ganyu's Ascension. Team number 7 features Kaya, Ganyu, Bennett, and Xiangling. Ganyu's P4 puts in a lot of work for DPS Kaya along with Cryo Resonance. Ganyu's E works nicely with Kaya's E being a small cone of AoE damage. Xiangling is our melt enabler and Bennett provides a massive buff and healing. We pick up both Pyro Resonance and Cryo Resonance so Kaya will hit like a truck. The combo sequence for this comp is Ganyu Q into Xiangling Q into Kaya Q into Ganyu E, Kaya E, and then Xiangling E. Team number 8 features Kaya, Ganyu, Xiangling, and Barbara. This is my complete free-to-play build if you literally don't have any other characters besides the free ones and happen to roll Ganyu. This team works similar to the one mentioned before, however you have Barbara, which enables you to get some cheeky freeze reactions, which in this scenario works pretty well to keep the big dudes immobile.
お前って本当にせっかちだな。おとなしくしやがれ。
関係者
I'm excited for you guys to play these comps because they are extremely fun. Whether you want to play Ganyu as your main or sub DPS, she's set up to do some pretty devastating damage. If you want my personal consult on a particular team, make sure to follow me on Twitter where I can more readily answer them. I get way too many YouTube comments every day and it's easy for me to miss them. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like and hit that big red button if you're not currently subscribed. I have a lot of great content planned out for ahead, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching, till next time.